So the house that these two families lived in for several years is located where Rex Williams lives today. In Grandma's book, he talks about this house was a temporary home. It was meant to be a garage with a storage cellar. I just learned today that when the house was dismantled, the wall in the kitchen still had the garage door, so it was planned to be a garage. It never became one because, as Grandma Delsa said, life went on. So two families lived in 4 rooms and made the best of it. So, to give you a little bit of timeline, in 1921, Ross and Delsa were married. Albert and Lenny were married just a few months later, which we all should know that Albert and Lenny were married, and within a couple of days, maybe one day, he went on his mission. And then when he came home, he bought some property out on what Grandma called Poverty Flat. And in 1926, they moved out to Poverty Flat. Delsa and Lenny's brother, Reuben, had a house just across the road from where Wally and Jeanette, their home is. And they, speaking of family, moved into the sheep wagon and allowed Ross and Delsa with their children and Albert and Lenny to live in their house while they were building their temporary home. The story's told that they hauled the brick from Basin with a horse and wagon. They would haul a load of brick every other day. And this was through January and February. They could hear the wagon coming before they could see it because of the creaking and the cold, snowy, icy road. The vision of the Wardell Reservoir, as they were trying to eke out a living farming what they called Poverty Flats, they would have a beautiful set of crops growing, and by midsummer it would burn up, not enough water. So as Albert was riding his horse out there where the Wardell Reservoir was, he saw in vision a lake, a reservoir. He rushed back to the farm to get Ross, but when he went back, the vision was gone. They called the county surveyor. He came and surveyed it. Before he surveyed, he said, "This isn't going to work." He went and surveyed it and found out it was an ideal location for a reservoir. So the family began to build the reservoir, and it was a combination of the Wardells as well as the Joneses, Reuben, Delbert, Fred, and I believe the Andersons also helped to build the reservoir. They built the reservoir, filled it with water, but didn't have yet a ditch to go down to the farms. As a blessing in disguise, during the drought, they were able to sell water by dumping it into Dorsey Creek and selling it down Dorsey Creek to the farmers down there to generate some money to continue the work. And not only the home, but also starting to build the 3-mile ditch from the reservoir down to the farm. So from, I think, 1928 is when they moved into the temporary home. It wasn't until 1939 that Grandpa Ross built the house, the basement for their house just across the pasture, and moved into there. And moving into the war, Joan, did the family move, your family move over into Ross's house during the war? So Ross and Delta went to San Diego. Grandpa worked in an aircraft factory during World War II. And Albert's family moved over to the house, the basement, that had indoor plumbing there. And lived there until they came back from San Diego later. A little sticker that Delta has in her book states, "We had everything but money." And it was because of the bartering. The story's told that they would work on the ditch from the canal back to the farms and do that all day. Ross would fire up the refinery and they refined crude oil from purchased in Grable, and they sold that fuel to the farmers, especially up in the Titsy, towards the Titsy up to Burlington. And that helped finance some of their projects. I mentioned earlier that Frank's wife took care of the new mothers after their children were born. Letty Anderson supplied labor for her children that would come and help can. They would do at least 200 quarts of corn, peaches, and other vegetables. Grandma said there was only one time that she ran out of flour, and her brother, Fred, bought her a bag of flour, and besides that, she never had to do without. A lot of the stories that I've shared with you, if you go onto the Wardell Facebook page and look under the files that are uploaded, there's about 8 or 9 PDF documents that were uploaded that contain the books that my grandma Delsa put together with pictures. And you can read about the many miracles that took place in these families' lives. The vision of the reservoir. There was misery. My grandma mentioned miracles on the road where vehicles broke down. When Leslie was about to be born, they were driving from Ottawa to Lovell. The car ran out of oil. Across from a farmer who had just emptied the oil out of his tractor. Ross dumped the oil in the car and continued on to the hospital. And Leslie was born later that day. So miracles do exist. And it's all about family. We have a wonderful heritage. And I hope that we can be making our own histories, writing them down. I've realized as I've gone through family search that many of our recently passed family members, we don't have great pictures of them. I'm sure there's better pictures that exist on family search. We should be seeking those out, getting them scanned and uploaded so that we can put a face with the name and recording stories to go with them. Most of what I've shared is from my grandma Delsa's story, and I'm sure there's others. I know that Vicki and Jerry have put together a lot of Melvin and Irma, the Albert family, and maybe others that I'm not aware of, but we do have a wonderful family. And the reason that this family reunion has gone on for years and years and years is, I believe, because some of these relationships that have begun almost 100 years ago.